Man City are back in Premier League action on Saturday when they welcome Leeds United to the Etihad Stadium. We're recording this before City play by Leverkusen in the Champions League, but Pep Guardiola's men enter this Premier League game hoping to return to winning ways after losing 2-1 at Newcastle last weekend. Now, while City sit third in the table and 7 points behind leaders Arsenal, Leeds are down 18th place inside the relegation zone after losing their seventh league game of the season at the weekend, losing 3-1 at home to Aston Villa. Stephen, this is a fixture that City will, of course, be regarded as big favourites for to win, and you'd hope that City can produce a much improved and more clinical performance in this one compared to their last outing at Newcastle.
Yeah, absolutely, and I expect they will do. The Leeds, they probably will go down. They've got some good players. Ex-City lad, of course, in the major up top, who scored a
Mm.
couple recently. Um, yeah, Longstaff, Ampadu, good players in midfield, but they don't have the quality, in my opinion, to stay up this season. They feel very much one that will go down, and I expect this to be a pretty comfortable home win. I think you put the quality of City's attacking. And look, I know we're a little bit susceptible defensively every now and then, but they are not, in midfield. Joe Linton, Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali. It's a massive step below that, and that's how you get at the City side. The massive step below Morgan Rogers and Kamara and Nana as well. They are nowhere near that. I think City can keep the ball more than good enough to handle Leeds. I think the wide play of Doku, the creativity of Foden behind Haaland. Shirky will probably enjoy it as well because it's at the Etihad. Yeah, I don't see how this isn't a comfortable Manchester City win. Who knows what happens to the Leverkusen game as we're recording this? We don't know, of course. But I expect City to be looking at this as a banker, really. And it should be. With all due respect to Leeds, I expect them to go down and I expect City to win this comfortably, like 4-5-0.
Yeah, City have got a very strong record against Leeds in recent games. They've won the last four in the Prem by an aggregate score of 16-2, and that includes a thumping 7-0 home win in December 2021. So it'd be nice to see a repeat of that maybe this weekend. Do you think there are any Leeds players then that could cause problems for City? Any key battles that could emerge in this one maybe?
Um, I mean, I don't think they've got really standout players. They've got some good ones, but like there's no like proper elite quality there, in my humble opinion. I do think you look at the Mecha returning to the Etihad, and a guy who's played for City. I think he scored for City actually in the first team. I want to say he
Mm.
has. I don't know if it's just a
Might have done
friendly or
in a
not.
cup game possibly.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
scored potentially a penalty or a tap in, but you've got that angle, and I, Daniel James off the bench potentially. Jack Harrison, of course, the ex-City lad as well.
Yeah.
Never played for City, but yeah. Look, they've got some decent players, but I do think they lack a little bit of star quality. They haven't got anyone particularly special, in my humble opinion. Unless you feel differently, I don't. No one stands out to me as a player that is going to give City too much trouble.
It'd be interesting to see who does actually start up front for them. You mentioned Nemecha there. They've obviously
Could be
got
Calvert-Lewin, couldn't it?
Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well. Both sort of physical strikers. They'd like to be a bit of a handful for City in this one. Yeah, it's difficult to see where there are any particular standout players that, you know, could change the game for Leeds in this one against a team like City who'll be fired up to,
Yeah.
want to return to winning ways in this one. They're at the Etihad as well. So
They
yeah,
don't, they don't. They seem like a lot of decent players, but there's
yeah.
no real X factor there for me.
Mm.
We look at like what Sunderland have done when they've come up, but you can see why when you look at the quality, the quality of players that they've got. Like having someone like Granit Xhaka, for example,
Mm.
it's a massive, massive boost for them. A real experienced winner there. A guy who went literally unbeaten, in the Bundesliga, and of course he's won with Arsenal before, and they've got a little bit of quality with like Lafay and stuff like that. Like I don't feel like they quite have that in Leeds. I feel like they've got some good players, but not. You need a couple of like proper winners and a couple of special players to stay up with your newly promoted side, and I'm not sure they have that. They have some good players. They have some good players who are more than good enough to obviously excel at Championship, but the level is so high in the Premier League these days, and I don't see them. Yeah, I just don't see them staying up personally. I think it's a big ask for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago they had a Crescencio Somerville who was in the Championship for a bit and then they got
Yeah,
promoted. He was quite a sort of a flair player, very exciting attacking player. They're probably missing maybe someone like that, but yeah, you would expect City to win this one at definitely the Etihad as well. And in terms of City then and their lineup, Of course, a lot will depend on whether what happens in that Leverkusen match in midweek. But do you expect maybe a similar side to the one that lost against Newcastle to start in this one?
Yeah.
Or yeah, or are there maybe some players that have maybe been benched in recent weeks that could be given an opportunity by Guardiola? What do you think on that?
In terms of benchies, Marmoush's got a decent shout, I reckon. Reinders could come back into the side. I think he probably will do at home. I think, yeah, Reinders come back into the side. Maybe Marmoush might get a start, which is long overdue. I don't see many changes. It's very hard because obviously we don't know the context of the Leverkusen game yet and who's not available. But I think Guardiola does have a relative preferred 11, and I think he's leaning towards it right now. I think the Shirky factor we talked about Newcastle being a bit too much for him. I don't think it's going to be an issue with Leeds at home. I think that is the kind of game where he will get space on the ball and in front of the Etihad fans. I think he'll have time to express himself, so he probably will be fine in that position again. And I think Guardiola's playing Shirky into the league for a reason. Like I think he understands that how talented he is. But it's very easy to tell sometimes you just got to show him, you know. And I think with all the physicality of the Premier League, the only way he's going to experience and adapt to it is just to be on the pitch. And to me, it'd be silly if you want to integrate him and get that talent shining. It'd be silly not to play him at Leeds at home because that's a banker of a win, in my opinion. So he should be on the pitch to experience more of that. So having said that, look, Foden will start. You know, Nico Gonzalez will start. Doku will probably start. Haaland will probably start. Vardiol, Diaz, I can't really see any changes there. O'Reilly, presuming he rests against Leverkusen, which he might do. Um, Nunes probably will start again. Could see Rico Lewis or even maybe Kusan might get run out. I don't know. But I don't see many changes. I think it's very obvious that I think Guardiola likes a certain 11 right now, and I think he'll go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And for Haaland, of course, expected to start up front. Hopefully, he can get his 100th Premier League goal in this one as well.
Yeah, well, he's a fan of them. You know, like I think he's never hidden the fact that he was growing up. He was a fan of Leeds, fan of Man City as well. So people always argue, he's a Leeds fan. I think he just supports both lads. I think it really is that simple. It's almost like he was born in Leeds. His dad played for Leeds, and his dad also is a Manchester City fan because he played for Man City and captain City at one point. It's that simple. I think Haaland loves both clubs very dearly and very deeply. So I think he would love to score that goal against Leeds, and something tells me he's going to score more than one. I think he's going to have a great time against Leeds United because he's that kind of person. I think he would utterly love to destroy the club that he loves because he's Haaland, and I suspect he'll probably succeed.
Yeah, he's got a good chance, I guess. And finally, can I get a score prediction from you then for City's clash with Leeds?
I'm going for a big one. I'm going for like a 5-0. I think City are going to really turn up. It could be higher, like 6 or something. I really truly believe City are going to turn up in this one and give Leeds a pasting.